Facebook, YouTube. This is Milton Johnson, your financial coach. Hey, it's just a pleasure just to be here one more time on day 22nd of the 30-day challenge. Hey, we're just moving right along. I am so grateful and thankful for the ones that are following me, the ones that have made comments, and the ones that continue just to listen to what I have to say. Hopefully, I'm giving you some nuggets, some good advice that you can follow, and that is currently making an impact on you. It's definitely making an impact on me as I continue to strive and grow on today. I also just want to let people know that I actually help individuals, small business owners and professionals, help them reduce debt, and establish that financial blueprint to help them actually reduce debt, increase their savings and their investing so they can reach their financial and retirement goals. And I use my roadmap to financial freedom methods to help you achieve this goal in life. So definitely been a pleasure just being in business, being able to be a servant and help different people out there. So if you need me, I definitely want to be available to you as well in doing so. But we're going to continue on with some of our topics. We've been having these topics over the last 21 days. It's the 22nd day. So we're going to be talking about a thing that I think kind of resonates with people. And it kind of resonates with me about how I see people living their lives. Because I see people living day to day without a care in the world. Some people have some dreams, some people don't. And so it put me in the question of, are you striving or are you thriving? I want to say it again. Are you striving or are you thriving? And he was like, what does that mean? When you're striving, people are just meeting the day to day, they're meeting the basics in life, they're getting by, they're actually in a survival mode, a way of life. Even with their thinking, not only with their finances, but also with their spiritual life, also with their emotional life, their relationships. Some people are stuck. They're just striving. They're not thriving. Thriving, you achieving your goals, you're moving forward. There's progress. You can see fulfillment in your life. Things are moving forward like the way you thought there would be. You're hitting your targeted goals. Um, and you're hitting your dreams, or either you could see them right in front of you. They're just around the corner. You right there at the line, so you know that you're there. When you're thriving, you're moving forward financially, spiritually, and in your relationship. I want to say that all three. So it's a more of a mental thing as well. I know when we moved here, my mom, we moved from Michigan, Detroit, Michigan to Georgia. That was a big transition. We was in Michigan. We were young. We were thriving. Man, my mom and dad were working. We lived in a two-story house. We had a basement. Um, I forgot how many bedrooms. I think about 5 bedrooms. Upstairs as well. Nice yard. Had a plum tree back there. The garage fence. Living the American dream. I had several cars in the yard. So, and we were always doing a lot of traveling. We'd go to Canada, which was right across the Detroit River. They'd go fishing, do different things. Then periodically we'd come back home. Or we always say back then we're going down south. So we come back to Georgia, visit. It was always fun to come to Lee County, go out there in the country, see my grandparents. They had a farm, and we were just thriving. I mean, we go on trips periodically. We didn't have to worry anything about clothes. Our financial situation seemed to be straight as well. We was attending church on a regular basis when I was a kid. So in my mind, we was thriving. Uh, this relationship with God. We was going to church. My dad was a deacon. My mom was an usher at that time. Lady now she's a evangelist, but we were striving during that time. Now the relationship, of course, that took a dive. That's kind of what wasn't thriving. It was in survival mode. My parents at that time surviving. And so as a result of their survival, their marriage did not survive. It wasn't thriving like it should have throughout the marriage. They became in survival mode. And when they became in survival mode, they couldn't get it to the thriving mode. And as a result, my mom came to Georgia, and not too long after that, a few years later, it actually ended up in a divorce. And when we was in Georgia, things drastically changed. As you can imagine, a single mom, two boys, raising on her own. My dad's still up there in Detroit. He's a young dad at that time in his 20s. So he wasn't thinking like how he was before he actually passed away. He's a man of wisdom, knowledge, and thinking. But this time he's 20 something years old, and his wife moved to Georgia. So you can imagine as a man how they would feel upset, like, why did you move? I mean, you should have stayed here and try to make the marriage, I don't know, I guess work even better. But it just wasn't thriving. But she came here and we ended up in straight survival mode. Like never before. My mom, we actually had to stay with my uncle for a little while because she didn't have a place to go. She just had to leave immediately. So took off, left, came to Georgia, and she stayed with her brother until she was able to actually find a house. And we moved into this neighborhood. It was actually like a really nice neighborhood. But we lived in the worst house in the neighborhood. I was like, oh man, is this the house that we're going to live in? Man, the house was like a wooden house, had some cracks in it. Seemed like the porch was coming down a little bit. It was like one of the worst house that I had ever seen at that time. I was like, oh man, I don't want to live here. I want to go back to Detroit. But my mom said, no, we're gonna make it work. She was in survival mode. I mean, it was so bad that when she washed the clothes, the washing machine, it didn't have any running water. Actually, the water would actually go outside on the ground. And eventually that became like a hazard. And they actually had to put like a notice and condemn the house because it's putting still water on the ground, creating mosquitoes. It just wasn't a good, healthy environment, but it was a survival environment. She was doing the best she could. We had to live off food stamps, had to get by day to day. Seemed like it was no week to week. It was day to day eating, surviving. I remember times, we ate TV dinners, things that were cheaper. And as I got older, I remember we would eat pig in a blanket, little hot dogs and bread. We'll put bologna sandwiches, cook it on top of the stove. We eat probably some of y'all never did this, but we had government cheese that we eat, put on some of our food and cook that, government butter, we have a government milk and all of this stuff. But we were surviving. We were not thriving. I would look at other people. I was like, man, it seemed like they had it going on, especially like the kids in our neighborhood. We were like the only black kids in there when we went to the park. And they were riding their nice bicycles. They were dressed nice. They had some nice homes. And most of them had two parents in the household. And it seemed like they were thriving. And so I didn't have a care in the world. And I was like, man, I want to be like that. I want to be thriving, not just surviving. So in my mindset, as I got older, my thing was, hey, I need to be saving money. I need to be disciplined in how I do things. I don't want to be just in a survival mode. And as a course over the course of time, my mom, she was able to raise us, make sure we didn't get into trouble. We never went to jail, prison. She never had to come out to the school for us being in trouble or suspension, anything like that. She was a hardcore mom. She made sure she kept us in line. But she had to do that through a survival mode. And I want you to take inventory of your life. Are you in that situation where you're satisfied with the average? Are you satisfied with the norm? Are you satisfied with Section 8 on housing? Are you satisfied with government housing? just living in there? Are you satisfied with just getting food stamps? Are you just satisfied with just getting a government check sent to your house? I'm not talking about Social Security, VA, retirement. Now, you work for that, earn that. So you should get your Social Security check, waiting on that. And if you get a VA check or retirement check from the government, hey, all good for you. I'm a military veteran, so I definitely understand that. But if you're not that, if you're mentally capable, physically capable, and you just satisfied, then you just getting used to surviving. I mean, you used to be someone just taking care of you, giving you what you need just to survive. And some people actually are just surviving on their jobs. I've seen it constantly. I mean, they could be doing a whole lot better, set themselves up for success, for better pay raises, or even promotions. But what do? They go to work, they get there just in time, not a few minutes before work. If it's time to get there at 7 o'clock, they get at 7 o'clock on the head. They come in through the door. Instead of being a few minutes earlier, getting themselves prepared mentally to get the job done, they come in right at 7 o'clock, always rushing through, doing just enough not to get fired, into an employer that's paying you just enough to keep you there. So I've been in that situation, so I know how it is, except for being late. I always like to come to work on time and be there and try to do my best. So I've always been like that at every job. My parents always told me, no matter what you do, even if you're a street sweeper, even if you're a custodian, even if you're just cutting grass or watering plants, whatever it is you do, washing cars, do the best job that you can do. So that actually, even if you're doing a job that you think is menial, you're thriving in your profession. You're doing something that's stimulating you in your profession and doing it to the best of your ability. And I think a lot of people need to start trying to thrive more at their job than just survive. There's so much potential in you that you can increase your income if you show some initiative, if you are able to network with the right people, if you're able to go and get that degree, that certificate, that extra training that it is needed to move up to a higher level. Or you just want to survive at that job? Or do you want to thrive and grow? Or you want to just survive at your business and just see it the same way? That's something I don't want. I was like, man, I'm just sick and tired of looking at my business being the same way. I want it to thrive. I want to go higher and higher each year, go to another level. So that's what I thrive to do. I want to thrive, get bigger and bigger every year. I want to see progress. And I have to monitor that progress to make sure that it is going in the right direction. And how about your relationship? Are you just hanging by a thread? Are you in a relationship where you're arguing constantly? You don't respect each other. Your conversations are very short, or sometimes none at all. Or do you hate to even come home? I've seen some people like that, that their relationship is so bad at home that they hate to come home. They would rather stay over and work additional overtime rather than come home. Or once they get off, they're ready to go out and have a drink with some friends, chill with them before they actually come home. That is a survival mode relationship. You want to be in a thriving mode relationship. So we need to change that mentality of being just enough, being just surviving, just being here, just living life. And you were like, well, what are some things that I can do to actually do that? I mean, there's some practices, some tips that you could actually do to actually make sure that you're not in survival mode. So, well, Milton, what can I do? You can get some structure in your life. You say, what do you mean by getting some structure? I mean, every day you're doing a daily routine. You wake up, you eat your meals at the same time. You do some exercise or whatever. You praying. I mean, that's important. Pray, meditate to the Lord for what He has done. You woke up. That's something to give Him the praise about. Something to definitely pray about, meditate, because you woke up. And when you woke up, what you had a roof over your head. Most of us woke up with a roof over our head. And when you open up your refrigerator, majority of us was able to see some food in there. Was able to drink some water, and that's something that in other countries we take that for granted. Some countries they can't even do that. In some countries they don't even have refrigerators, and they may live in a hut or something that's barely surviving basic survival mode. So you need to develop a structure. Try to get plenty of sleep. No, do that. That's important. That's one thing I had to learn to do, and something I'm still want to do. Is make sure I get plenty of sleep because I definitely feel better when I get the rest that I need to get. Another thing you can do, is get the right people around you. Surround yourself with trusted people. You know, accountability partners. It's just so important to get with these partners. Make sure that you're praying about it. You're seeking God about it as far as relying on them. Make sure that they're the trusted friends that you connect with. You may be able to connect with them physically, and now social media has grown. You may be able to connect through social media, but make sure that there are the trusted sources that can give you the right advice, help you through difficult things, give you help you being able to think of things in a different way. You want to be able to do that. Get those trusted sources to be able to help you. Looking at the news sometimes, actually had to reduce my news usage because everything on the news most of the time is negative, and that's how they really make their money. Consume the negative because people that's what they try to see. Negative information. This person killed this. This country is bombing this country. Hurricane disaster. 20 people killed. Hundreds of people homeless. That drives people to the news. And they increase the ratings. The worse it is, the better the ratings are. You don't see too many like, oh, this guy or this child help this young lady across the street. You know, community and helping. That don't make major news because that don't really draw that attention. It's the dramatic. It's the worst. We are drawn out like, oh man, can you believe that this has happened? So don't let the negativity consume you early in the morning. Get into something positive. Get in the Word, your daily devotions. Get into that to help you thrive mentally instead of in that survival mode. Another thing is, having the right connection with your family, with your friends, with your church as well. That's you have the right connection. The church has been a part of basically all of my life. My mom had us in church when we were growing up. We would go to church. We was part of the Ursha board, junior Ursha board. We was in Sunday school. We was in the junior choir. I was a junior deacon. We were doing everything. We was involved in so many activities. We was involved in this group called Action. She had it in when we was teenagers. She had us involved in so much positive things. Make sure that we was in the right connection and make sure that you stay mentally stable. And because she always said, idle mind is a devil workshop. And I think that goes with for adults as well. You want to be around the right positive connection to keep you thriving versus just striving. You can focus on control. And this is something, you definitely got to be praying with God for the Holy Spirit to lead you in this, and having that control. Because sometimes we lose control. We do it the worst things. Have you seen people just lose control? They abuse the kids, they abuse the spouse, and sometimes they even abuse themselves because of the lack of self-control. So definitely look at focusing on control. Sometimes we may overeat because we lose control, overdrink because we lose control. Go into drug using a binge, and get addicted to certain things because we have lost control. So you need to focus on the things that you can control to make sure that's right. No, we overspend, losing control. Just go somewhere to a store. You went to go get something basic, a shirt, and now you come back with jeans, shoes, sock, hats. all sorts of stuff. You just lost control. You need to stay focused on what you're supposed to do and not lose control over that. No, and another thing you do, just do something. Do something positive. Just don't just sit around just on the couch watching TV. No, you can do some journaling. Sit back, just listen to some soothing music. Watch. Do something. Change it up sometime. But do something. Just don't sit there and have a pity party and say, "Why me? Why everything so bad for me? My situation is bad. People are passing. My job lost. I'm not getting paid what I need to get paid." Guess what? Everybody had that situation. So if you look around, everybody is in some sort of situation. You are not the only one. I get me. People think I'm in the worst situation. I had so many people that I had 11 people that I know that died in 2020. Some died because of COVID. Some died through some natural disaster. Some died through suicide. And some just died in accidents. 11 people in 2020. I could be stuck and say I can't move on with life. I'm still thinking about my dad, still thinking about this one, my other loved one. But it's time to move forward. Pass on. You have to go through the grieving process. Don't get me wrong. It's important to grieve, but it's also important to move forward, not to get stuck in the past, but to go forward. And then if you trust and believe in God, no, go. I know you have to be able to move forward. No, praying daily. No, being surrounded by loved ones, being encouraged and motivated by different people. And sometimes you have to be like David. You have to learn to encourage yourself to go forth and look at things from a different perspective. How you use your money, how you use your time, a different perspective about your relationship. How do you really look at your relationship? How do you really value your relationship? Do you want to stay the same way, or are you ready for it to go to a different level? And you can do that. Just think, no one can do it for you, but you can do it. So just look inside yourself. Do I just want to strive? Just take it every day, the everyday thing that life, I just wait, just whatever life gives me, I'm just going to take it? Or am I going to thrive and move forward? Make some things happen. Not just wait, but strive. I always say faith without works is dead. You have to be working, you have to be moving. Look in the Bible, everybody that God used, they were actually working, they were doing something. They weren't just sitting at home saying, I'm just waiting on the Lord. They weren't doing that. I'm just gonna wait to see what he tell me. No, they were actually out doing some things. And while they were in the midst of doing things, then he started to bless and elevate them so they can go to another level. So don't just sit there just waiting. Do something while you're waiting. Grow while you're waiting. Thrive while you're waiting for bigger things. Because you got to thrive for success. And success just don't happen just fall on your head. You have to make some things happen. So if you're struggling with changing your mindset, going that way, seek a professional. Either you can seek me. That's it. I'm a coach. I'm a financial coach, but I coach as well. I'm also a licensed and ordained minister. So it's more than just finance. Sometimes it's about your emotional well-being, about your stability, your spiritual life, everything combined. And I want to be able to help you move in that direction. And once you do that, I think once you get mentally stable, get your mind focused, then your finances are going to change as well. You'll be able to, in a way, to be able to be coached, to be able to go to another level, to be able to meet your full potential, to be able to meet your destiny that's in front of you. So if you're having those issues and you need some guidance, and you want to be coached in the right direction, definitely feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out. I have a link on my website. Go to my website, solutions to finances, with an S.com. You can make an appointment with me. Go to contact. You see something said make an appointment, and then you can set a time and we could actually talk. Or even yet you could actually DM me. I definitely would like to hear from you because I want to be able to help you. I want to be a servant and be available to you. So this is the end of my segment, and I want to see you thriving and not just striving. You be blessed. I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow.